Ever wonder if those epic miracle stories we hear about, like parting the Red Sea, are really the heart of religion?
It's a question that's fascinated people for centuries.
Yeah, like what if the real test of faith isn't about seeing the supernatural, but something deeper? That's what we're looking at today.
Sounds intriguing.
We're doing a deep dive into the Baha'i view on miracles and prophets,
Oh, interesting.
using this excerpt called Miracles and Prophethood, a Baha'i perspective on a true proof of divine revelation. It's pretty fascinating.
The Baha'i writings definitely offer a unique perspective, that's for sure. They challenge some traditional ideas about miracles.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We all love a good miracle story, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Parting seas, healing the sick. They capture our imagination.
Yeah, they're attention-grabbing, for sure.
But what if those spectacular events aren't the main point?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay, tell me more.
The Baha'i writings suggest the true miracle is the lasting change prophets bring.
Interesting.
A change that impacts individuals and society. It's the substance, not just the spectacle.
So it's less about, wow, look what they can do, and more about, wow, look what their message inspires people to do.
Precisely.
I like that.
Take, for example, the saying of Jesus, "Let the dead bury their dead."
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Seems illogical, right?
It does on the surface.
Exactly.
So help me understand.
The Baha'i writings would say, look beyond the literal meaning. It's an allegory.
Okay.
It suggests those who are spiritually dead are unable to grasp higher truths.
So you're saying those focused on material things, neglecting their spiritual side, are essentially dead to spiritual reality.
You got it.
That's a powerful image.
And it highlights a core theme in the Baha'i teachings. Humanity often loses sight of the true essence of religion. We get consumed by materialism, empty rituals, superstition, and forget the transformative power of connecting with the divine.
Yeah, I can see that. So the prophets, or manifestations of God, as the Baha'i faith calls them, come to revive this spiritually dead world.
Exactly.
That makes sense. But if miracles aren't the proof of prophethood, what is? Wouldn't it be easier to believe if they could part the sea in front of you?
It's a question a lot of people asked.
Right.
But the source material brings up an interesting point. Miracles are often based on secondhand accounts.
So like you weren't there to see it yourself.
Right, so they're prone to skepticism and doubt, and their impact fades over time. How can you be truly certain if you weren't there?
That's true. Stories change over time, but the teachings themselves, you can explore those directly.
Exactly. And the Baha'i writings really emphasize that lasting impact. Think about it. Moral transformations, new social structures, civilizations built on their foundations, wisdom that lasts for centuries.
Wow, that's a powerful legacy.
It is.
So we're shifting our focus from outward spectacle to inward transformation, from temporary wow to lasting change.
That's a great way to put it. The Baha'i faith sees religion as a source of light and guidance.
Makes you think about miracles differently. But I'm wondering, if the real miracle is this inner transformation, how does that play out in someone's life?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Yeah, it's a real shift in thinking, isn't it?
It is.
And you're right to ask about what it looks like in real life.
Right.
The Baha'i teachings offer a framework for understanding how that inner change happens.
So it's not just about feeling good. There's actual action involved.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One of the key principles in the Baha'i faith is unity.
Okay, we touched on unity earlier,
Yeah.
but I'm ready to go deeper.
Sure.
What does that actually look like?
It starts by recognizing we're all connected, seeing beyond the things that divide us.
Like what kinds of things?
Like race, religion, nationality, all of it. At our core, we're all spiritual beings, part of one human family.
Okay, I can see that.
And that should guide how we treat each other and how we build a better world.
Right. But some people might say that's a bit idealistic, like, let's all hold hands.
That's a fair point.
How do you translate those big ideas into action?
That's a great question. The Baha'i writings are clear that putting those ideals into action is key. It's not enough to just talk about unity. We have to live it.
So what would that look like in everyday life?
It can take many forms.
Give me some examples.
Sure. It could be working to eliminate prejudice, whether it's racial, gender-based, or religious. It could mean advocating for social justice, economic empowerment, or environmental sustainability, taking action on issues that matter, for a more just world.
So it's about putting those spiritual principles into practice.
Exactly. It's recognizing our spiritual journey is linked with the well-being of others. We can't advance spiritually while ignoring suffering or injustice around us.
That's a powerful idea. Our personal growth tied to the well-being of humanity as a whole. But let's get back to miracles. How does this idea of unity, of taking action, relate to creating miracles?
Now that's where it gets exciting.
Okay, I'm listening.
The Baha'i teachings suggest that changing society starts with changing ourselves. Each of us must work to refine our character, overcome prejudices, cultivate qualities like love, compassion, justice.
It's like becoming the change we want to see.
Exactly. And that personal transformation has a ripple effect.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
It influences our families, communities, ultimately the world around us. These acts of transformation, these moments of choosing unity and action, they are the miracles we can all create.
I'm starting to see the connection. So we're not waiting for some supernatural event to happen. We're actively creating a more just and unified world. And those actions are, in themselves, miracles.
Precisely.
So we're all potential miracle workers. That's pretty amazing.
It is. And the Baha'i writings emphasize that we are each accountable for our actions.
You mean like what we do matters?
Exactly. We have a duty to use our talents and abilities to serve humanity.
So it's not just about personal piety. It's about putting those spiritual principles into action, working to make the world better.
Yes, that's the idea.
But I think a lot of people struggle with this. They may feel overwhelmed, like, what can I possibly do?
I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember, even small acts can have a big impact. Think of it this way. What if every act of kindness, every effort to bridge divides, every step towards justice was seen as a miracle?
Okay, I think I get what you're saying. So it's not about parting the sea, but those everyday acts that can change hearts and minds.
Oh, got it. These acts might not make headlines, but their impact can be huge.
So give me an example. What would a real-life, everyday miracle look like? So what would a real-life, everyday miracle look like?
Okay, imagine a young person who grew up surrounded by prejudice, taught to fear people from different backgrounds.
Yeah, I could see that.
But then, maybe through a chance meeting or a shared experience, start to question those beliefs.
That makes sense.
And they reach out to someone from that other group and discover, oh, we have so much in common.
Yeah, that shift in perspective is pretty powerful, like breaking down barriers one relationship at a time.
Exactly. Or think about someone battling addiction, trapped in a cycle of despair.
That's a tough one.
And then they find the strength to get help, to take that first step towards recovery.
Overcoming huge internal obstacles.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be something dramatic. It could be as simple as a busy parent, really taking the time to listen to their child.
Oh, I love that.
Putting aside their own stuff to connect heart to heart. That genuine connection, that act of love and presence, that's a miracle too.
It is. It's like finding those moments of grace in the chaos. Choosing love over indifference, connection over isolation. Miracles aren't just about, parting seas, but bridging divides in our hearts.
Exactly. And when enough people start creating these everyday miracles, the effect can be transformative.
Yeah, like a chain reaction.
It creates a culture of compassion, a society where we see each other not as strangers, but, as fellow travelers on this journey.
I like that. So we start recognizing those everyday miracles. We're not just waiting for some big event. We're creating a more spiritual reality right now.
Precisely. And that participation, that choice to act with love and unity, that's what sparks real change.
It's like we all have these miracle-making powers, but we've forgotten how to use them.
We have. This deep dive has been a good reminder that the power to change things, to bring more light and love into the world, is within each of us.
It really has. So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What do we want them to remember?
I'd say don't underestimate the power of your actions, your words, your thoughts. Every act of kindness, every effort to connect, every step towards justice can create a ripple effect beyond what you can imagine.
It's about recognizing we're all connected, that our choices shape the world, and that we can each be a force for good.
Exactly. It's about realizing we're not just watching the world go by, we're shaping it. We're co-creating a reality that reflects love, justice, and unity.
That's inspiring. This deep dive has given us a lot to think about. It's challenged us to see the world differently, to recognize the miracles all around us, and, to tap into our own potential.
It's been a joy exploring this with you. And remember, this is just the start. Keep questioning, exploring, and creating those everyday miracles.
Until next time, keep diving deep.